This is another episode of Just Joshing. I am your host, Joshua Pentelaresco, and I am coming to you in the wee hours earlier this morning. This is a little earlier than planned. I had a little bit of an unexpected happening on the weekend. I'm heading to Edmonton this week to do a Pure Spec, which is a Edmonton Authors Conference, which is going to be awesome. It'll be the first chance I have to promote Storm Dancer to the public. I'm really excited about that. I'm actually not entirely sure who completely is going to be there. I know Aviva Bell Harrell's going to be there. I know Randy Charles is going to be there. Both of them are going to be guests down the road on this podcast. I'm going to get to meet up with some really cool people up there, like the Van Diepen, who just came out with a book called Hidden in Sealskin, which was awesome. But yeah, no, I'm going in there with not really any expectations. I'm just gonna go have fun, enjoy my weekend, and then come back and do some adult stuff when it's all said and done. All in all, it's an exciting time, and I can't wait. There's that, and let's see what else has happened this week. I am on Instagram. Be afraid, be very afraid. I have crossed the Instagram line. I am at J Pentelaresco. And yeah, all in all, it's pretty good. I just realized and remembered to myself now I have to actually make a business card, so I'll take care of that as soon as I can. Let me think, what else? Yeah, about the Instagram thing. Well, you always have to do when you're doing what we do, and I'm second we as in people that pursue stuff, is you gotta get out there as much as you can and do as many different things as possible. And Instagram's kind of another tool. I can see why my sister loves this tool so much. My sister's an amazing photographer. She underestimates just how good she really is, and Instagram is literally made just for her. And people like her take pictures of all kinds of things. I'm still kind of trying to decide what would be a good theme for me. I know I'm going to be doing Instagramming the event while I'm there, and it'll be fun. It'll be on my Twitter as well, which is at jpentelaresco as well. But yeah, I'm expanding my horizons bit by bit. What else happened this week? Talked about the future of my blog on my blog. If you've been following it, I've made some serious changes to it. jpentelaresco.wordpress.com. I normally have done interviews, but with the podcast now being a thing, I'm not doing quite as many written word interviews. I'm kind of torn on that. I miss it a little bit, actually. Not because I think the audio definitely has its place. In a lot of ways it's easier, but one thing I've noticed doing this is that, a lot of authors, there's a certain, barrier. Because the moment you realize you're being recorded, you're not quite as open about certain stories as you were when it was me writing stuff down on paper. When I do interviews, I'm not interested in burying anybody. Anyone that's been interviewed by me will attest to this. I will write up an interview, I'll send it to the person I'm interviewing, making sure that they are okay with it. Because I'd rather them be as happy as possible with what we got. It's also just professional too, because I do make mistakes, and I acknowledge them with everybody, really. And I find it goes a long way. I've gotten a lot of repeat interviews as a result. I can attest to the fact that people like Simon Rose, Justine Dowsett, they've come back. The School of Bitches, that is an actual group, and I'll tell that story in just a minute. But these are people that have been interviewed by me that have enjoyed the interview process and have come back. GMB Chamachok from last week is, a previous interview as well. I go out of my way to try to make people look as good as possible, because to me, and this is just my book and my podcast for that matter, I'm trying to make everybody I meet that's trying to do something look as good as possible. It's not about, to me being better than everybody else, or they're better than me, or whatever the heck case may be. People are at different points on their journey, whatever they may be, and as a result, you gotta kind of go with it. And I have dreams, and I've been trying to pursue them forever. Who am I to argue with anybody doing the same thing with theirs? If anything, this whole thing partly is to help people be out there. Say, hey, this person's awesome. They're amazing, and you should check them out. Whatever it is they're doing, that's part of the goal of this thing. And and this week's guests, and yes, there are guests this week, not just one but two. I did two very short interviews at When Words Collide, so I'm going to talk about the first one here. Her name is Irish Beth Maddock. She did this book called The Great Carpe Escape. It's a kid's book. I met her. I met her at When Words Collide. She was lost. And I'm not talking like she knew where she was. I mean, I could look at her and I could kind of see that. Although she was at the event, she was a writer, and she wasn't comfortable. Like there was just she felt out of place and kind of not feeling welcome for whatever reason. I don't know the full story behind that even now. But I was like, okay, when should I be interviewed for my podcast? And I remember her going to me, it's like, I'm not sure you want to do that. I'm Christian. I'm Christian too. I don't talk about the. Actually, I'll go a step back on this one. I consider myself a believer. If you're gonna talk about Christian in terms of being Christ-like and trying to follow the path of God, I do my best. I definitely fall short in a lot of areas, but I do my best to treat people, regardless of who they are, where they're from, what they do, as people. Um, God made everybody, and this is, like I said, the closest thing you'll get to a religious or faith-based sermon for me on this podcast. I'm not here trying to convert people to one way or the other, but my own belief is people it doesn't matter who you are, people are once in a lifetime. And it doesn't really matter to me anyway. It doesn't really matter where you came from, who you are. What matters to me is who you are and who you're trying to be. And if you're one of those people that are trying to make something of yourself, I really don't care what you believe in, to be honest with you. But that was her first thing. She goes, I'm a Christian. This book is very Christ-like. And I'm of the belief that there is more. I mean, the Watchers, there is more. It does have a bit of a biblical bent to it. People that argue for God, right, ultimately comes down to those three words: there is more. There's more to life than what we see, hear, touch, and taste. And the opposite argument is this is all there is. And you can go back and forth on both perspectives when you get right down to it. It ultimately comes down to, do you believe or don't you believe? And if you don't believe, that's your prerogative. I really don't care. If you do believe, great. I hope your walk with God is been as rewarding as mine has been. I'm not like I said here to preach the sermon. And there are podcasts that do it and do it well. And like I said, I'm not going to be shy about it, because that's not right either. It's part of who I am. But it's not something I feel like I need to just always put out there. But anyway, going back to Irish, she was really uncomfortable. It's like, nonsense. Talk. Just talk. And when we did the interview, and it wasn't a long interview, but it was, I think, a good thing for her, because it felt like, for her, she needed someone to tell her that she belonged. And she did. Her book is really solid for a kid's book. It's an illustrated kid's book. So I like those things. I'm more of a fan of them now than I used to be honest, because when I was a kid, I didn't appreciate them quite as much as I do now. And that's partly my comic book bent, but I can appreciate some of the details I didn't as a kid. And Irish's book, Great Carpe Escape, is really solid. Is it the best one I've ever read? No. But it's good for a first book, and I really do hope somewhere down the road she does it again. But she's my first guest today, and like I said, give her a listen. She's interesting. She's an interesting lady, and hopefully I'll get a chance to interview her a little longer next time. I am with Irish Beth Maddock. I said that right? You did. Okay, cool. So how you doing today? I'm excellent. Thank you.
And you actually seem more relaxed. You're more nervous when we first met there. So
That's good.
yes. So you do kids books, and I mean like the classic illustrated books. Were you a big fan of them when you were a kid?
I was. I didn't get an opportunity to read the types of books I'm publishing right now, so that's sort of the motivation to.
No Dr. Seuss or anything like that?
Oh yeah, that was part of it.
Yeah, that totally. Who doesn't love Dr. Seuss, right?
That's right.
So was these the kind of stories you always wanted to tell? Like this kind of story?
This story,
yeah.
Yes.
So what was the motivation behind it? Just being a fan, or is this just something you thought you had to say?
It was something I felt I had to say. I don't know if you get those 2:00 in the morning downloads that I do, but I actually got up and wrote this story down, and I just kept getting confirmations that it needed to be out there in little ways, and so it took me 3 years to figure out how to do that. But last January it came out, and just seeing where God takes it.
Okay, well, that's cool. So, we're again with doors open. I did a self-published book way back in 2002, and I learned a lot of hard lessons, but it led to me working for a very well-known author who's one of my heroes. So I'm saying you never know where things will lead to. So tell me, what is the Great Carpe Experiment all about?
Well, it is based on a true experience I had as a child growing up on Okanagan Lake in Vernon, BC. The story has an underlying allegory of the gospel of Jesus. Mm-hmm. However, it's very quietly shown, so a lot of people miss it. But the main reason I published the story is I think kids need to hear how God thinks they're wonderful. And I missed that message as a kid, and it had dire consequences for my life. I don't want other kids to miss that message.
Okay. It is too personal, I understand, and I've noted this out, but what are some of those consequences? If it's not too painful, if it is, I will totally follow.
Well, writing this book was healing for me. At the age of 4, my brother was 1, our birth mom took off, and that happens to a lot of people. That's just the way things are in this day and age, but that's okay. What happened is my dad, unfortunately, couldn't afford childcare, so he would go to work and come home at lunch and check on us and then be back by supper. So as a 4-year-old, I learned very quickly how to parent my 1-year-old brother, and I have to say I didn't do a very good job of it. But that healing journey has been that I had realized that wasn't supposed to be my role. And in being able to tell this story, there's just some healing elements of how God was there, even when I felt I was alone.
Sounds like, okay, I'll tell you a parent's personal story with my family. My grandmother was 13 and her mom died, and she had to literally become the head of the household.
Yes.
And, my grandmother's awesome. Like, seriously, toughest woman I know, bar none. But there was a big part of her childhood that she never got to really enjoy.
She was robbed.
Yeah, she was. And she feels it now. And it's one hand, it's upsetting because, she still did a lot of great things, but so I kind of do understand.
Healing is needed.
Yeah.
When you've lost that childhood.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I shouldn't say I understand, but I've seen it with my family. No, it's. I'm glad you realized it, and I'm hoping that you made up for lost time at least a little bit.
Trying
to. So you do anything like really crazy, like jump out of an airplane or anything like that, or just
not yet. Maybe that'll come.
Or maybe that'll come. Maybe. Okay. But the reason I asked is like, no, you just, I'm still like in a lot of ways a kid at heart. I still have fun with stuff like your book. I mean, I again, not something I would normally read, I will admit that, but it's still very cool to actually see anything like that because I know how much work that really, really takes to collaborate and put something together. And it's cool, it's neat, it's fun. And I still I'm still a sucker for some of the old, like some of the kids stuff like pop-up books and things like that. I'm a big giant sucker for that. So. How about you? Like, is there anything like from your childhood that you still been a sucker for?
Well, I have to admit, I still like to eat a lot of candy.
Okay.
That has never gone away.
No, so sugar's your thing. Okay, that's good. So it's good to know.
It's
so
a safe addiction for now.
For now. So if I need to bribe you with something, it's like, I got a jelly bean. No,
that's right.
Okay. Okay, so now we talked briefly like when my test about your day job. So say it again what it was, because it's really cool.
I'm a certified feline specialist, so I have a background that maybe I know a little more about cats than the average person, and as a result, I use that in my business. My business is called the Cat Nanny, and people just hire me to look after their cats while they're away, usually. And some cats are high need in regards to medications and needles or subcutaneous fluids and things like that. So that's pretty much my day job.
Has that increased over the years? I mean,
Yes.
just the reason I'm asking that is because I remember when I was a kid, I had like a short-haired cat, and he didn't need anything. Like he was good. He still hunted. He played. He played a bit rough. That was his nature. But like he didn't need shots and had diabetes. Now I'm coming into this day and this time.
Mm-hmm.
I'm seeing that a lot more cats are almost adapting very human-like symptoms.
Yeah.
So
people are making them human.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they're not.
There's a whole social issue with that, where people are relying more on the companionship of pets rather than other people. And they are placing higher value on their pets. And as a result, there are niche markets coming up, such as a cat sitting.
Yes.
Who would have ever thought that would become business and you get paid to do it? Usually you get your neighbors to do it or your friends to do it. Not anymore.
No, it's I'm not saying it's a good or a bad thing. Well, it is a bit of a bad thing. I go to the Walmart pets, like the pet section at Walmart. I actually freak out a little bit when I go in there.
Yeah, it is quite alarming.
Yeah.
To see where the trends are going.
Yeah.
In that regard.
Yeah, but
I hear you.
Yeah, on the plus side though, it's just you're in business as a result.
That's right.
So there are good sides.
And I can write on the side.
Exactly. So that leads to this question: are you writing more?
I do have another book in the wings. It actually is a cat sitting guide.
Oh, that's neat. Nonfiction.
That's the next project.
So is it going to be like a cookbook kind of deal, or is it going to be like more like a step-by-step instruction kind
How
of?
to start your own business in that regard.
Yeah.
I'm being asked all the time, how do you start your own cat sitting company? So I thought maybe I better start charging for my opinions.
That's actually not, it's really not a bad call. Another personal
niche area.
Yeah, it's cool. And you said, my dad does holistic medicine, and he's mostly self-taught. But again, he's had people help over years. His knowledge base is incredible, though. And people, when we lived in Arizona, would harass him. One woman was stalking him because of just the information. He'd go to the store just to see him, and he couldn't figure out how to shake her. So I made a suggestion to actually charge him. It says, if you're going to have to deal with her, you might as well pay for it.
Absolutely.
Right? And what ended up happening was, the moment he did that, she went away. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, so you won. So,
you got what you wanted.
Yeah, exactly. So
it was win-win.
Yeah, it was all right. Either way, but that's when you probably need to do the same thing at this point. I really imagine.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's about self-worth too. That you want to place value on your experience and your time. And a lot of people look at you and say, "Well, you just look after somebody's cat. Anybody can do that."
Yeah.
Well, you go ahead and start your own business without my advice.
And you then kick butt, and you kick butt, power to you. In the meantime, you'll be doing your thing. So, okay, so are you going to do any more fiction? Or are you going to...
You never know. I'm sort of waiting to see where things go with my little story. It won an International Book Award in its category as a finalist. Won a finalist placement as a National Indie Excellence Award, and it just won a silver medal with an ebook in my category.
And that's very awesome.
So I don't know where that will go, but you never know.
Well, like I said, I hope so. It looks really good, just from the outside looking in. And now, folks, I have not read it, but who knows? Maybe at some point with a silver will work out a business deal. I don't know. But but on that note, how can people get a hold of you?
Well, my website is irishbethmaddock.com. I'm also on Facebook and Twitter and on Google Plus. And
what's your handle on Twitter?
Oh, it's Irish Beth Writes.
Okay. Very cool. Is it the same with your... And so, beyond that, is there anything you'd like to add?
Just that I appreciate you. Thank you.
No.
I want to thank Irish Beth Maddock for her time, and it was a pleasure meeting her at When Words Collide. Check out The Great Carpe Experiment, done by Irish Beth Maddock, and it's a good little children's book, and I got a bigger appreciation of it, like I said, because of my experience doing some of my own illustrated books. But yeah, and all in all, just it was a solid book. I gave it 4 stars on Amazon. You can go check it out there too, and say hi to her. She's awesome, and she never felt the way she did. And going from that, I just want to talk about kind of what I did this week, just for fun, on Facebook. I have a really diverse group of people I talk to, and one of the things I decided to do this week, just for the sake of doing it, is give everybody the secret to writing. Well, not just the secret to writing, but the secret to everything you do. It's this phrase: believe in yourself, and who you are, and what you can do. Bet on that, and good things will happen. A couple people thought I was strange. An old high school buddy in particular called me a strange bird for doing this. But it was, it just seemed like a cool idea to do. Most people responded very favorably to it. It was just like a smile. A couple people said it made their day. A couple other people, it's like, thank you very much for doing it. And I did it not just to, throw anything out of my end. It was more just kind of an experiment. I wanted to see if people would just respond to something just genuine. Genuine kindness is probably the hardest thing for most people to deal with. And I say that not maliciously. I say it just kind of one of those deals where, people are used to being mean or with their guards up, but when someone genuinely is kind to you, it tends to disarm you, and in a good way. We don't believe in ourselves as much as we should. And I know it's hard, because sometimes we're always struggling. There's not something about we are always struggling with something. Always trying to overcome whatever obstacles we have, whatever they may be. And, when you're going through all that, and you see all that, it's kind of hard sometimes to say, well, what good am I? Or sometimes it's not even that. I had a conversation not too long ago with, someone that was smarter than I was. And one of those things she pointed out to me is that most of us are conditioned to be in denial. And this put a lot of things in perspective to me in regards to why some of my friends have never really pursued some of the things they feel deep inside they should go for. I pointed out to one of my buddies, and this is a debate we have been having for a long time. He thinks that we're conditioned to go seek our dreams. I really don't see it that way. I look at a lot of people have this idea what realistic is, and to me, realistic is like anything else, a concept. We gotta all pay bills, but really beyond that, there's really no real rule what we can and cannot pursue. But a lot of people limit themselves and deny themselves, just for the simple sake of, I'm not good enough. I don't have that degree. I don't have this qualification. I'm not this. I'm not that. It's really easy to look at what you don't have. It's hard to look at what you do. And really, at the end of the day, if you do believe in yourself and what you can do, what can really stop you? If you don't fear failure, there is no limit. Alright, so that's my self-help thing for the week. I look at it kind of like this: if you have a goal, you should do it, because why can't you? My next guest is Joanne Morcum, and I met her at When Worlds Collide Saturday night at the Writers Fest. We kind of just bumped into each other because we just ended up having to sit by each other because I was a last minute arrival, and we had no set place, and we just sat there and chilled and got talking. And I thought she was pretty sweet, funny person. And I asked her, it's like, would you like to be interviewed? She was cool with it. But what really sold me on her was meeting her husband. Her husband is a solid dude, and we were talking, just kind of, being cordial with each other. I just thought I looked at her, And, I saw someone that really loved her. And I saw the same thing in her eyes with him. And I was like, that was a really, really cool thing. She's done something right. And something really incredible. And he's done something right. And something really incredible. But more than, being an awesome person, Joanne writes a style of poetry I'd never heard of before up until this interview. And it's called tanka, which is another Japanese style of poetry. And we talked about that. We talked about Twitter, her fears and apprehensions. I can happily say that she is on Twitter more because of talking to me. Still not enough, I don't think, but she's getting more comfortable at least. But anyways, without further ado, here's Joanne.
So we're gonna do this one more time. I'm with Joanne Morcum. I'm not gonna say if I got your name right this time because I think I think I got it. It's in, or at least until this interview's over, and I'll probably just go at the other ear. Oh, yeah, it's Joanne. So can I go to Joanne? Yeah, it's cool. So you are like me, do the whole poetry deal, but you do a unique one. Can you describe it?
Yes, my specialty is haiku poetry and related forms, such as the five-line tanka and the haiben, which is a combination of poetry and prose.
Huh. So do you like which do you prefer? What's your favorite style that you do?
Um, I like haiku and tanka equally. I would say they each have their advantages and disadvantages, but they're both fun to write. I started writing haiku first, and then I started writing tanka.
Okay, now for those of us that are uneducated, like I was last night, what is tanka?
Tanka is related to haiku insofar as it was developed in Japan, as was haiku, but tanka is much older than haiku, uh, several hundred years older than uh, haiku. I believe that haiku actually derived from tanka, although I'm not 100% sure of that. There's more than one school of thought. Some people believe that they developed separately. Some people believe that haiku developed out of tanka, but they're both fascinating forms because one is 17 syllables or less, and tanka is 31 syllables or less, so extremely short poetry.
Yeah. Well, I read some of yours last night because we did a little book exchange.
We did.
And yours, well, I didn't read all of them because I was pretty brain dead tired. But the ones I did read a couple of them that made me laugh.
Good.
I love the personal one, the mood swings one was the one that made me laugh the hardest. So why don't you talk a little bit about that one in particular?
Okay. The one about my doctor asking me if I have mood swings, and my response is never. That's based on a true story, as most haiku and tanka are based on the everyday experiences of the poet, and a lot of them are, you might say, mundane experiences, like visiting a doctor, or going for a walk, or that sort of thing. A typical haiku contains a season word, but not all of them do.
One haiku I actually wrote did not have a single timer or even I'm sorry, mine was completely fictitious. I did kind of like a whole samurai thing. It was basically
Yes.
it was just simply about the whole concept of living a worthwhile life. Because I think more than again, just my whole thing is right. I can't be a warrior like a samurai was because again, very different time, different place.
Very.
Right. And but the idea of living fully, passionately, completely, that to me, well, it's a very Japanese thing. I think.
Yes, it is.
It's a very Japanese concept,
Yes.
and but I think it's a very true one because if you don't put everything into what you're doing that you really love, then what are you doing?
Yes. Yes, and that's true of the best haiku as well. The poets turn their real life experiences into poetry. and they're honest, sometimes brutally so, but some of them are quite humorous. There's quite a variation, which is part of it as well. Some are strictly nature poets, like they write about flowers and birds, etc., and others write more about human activities, which tend to be on the humorous side.
Yes. So what are your favorites and why?
My favorite
Style.
style. Oh, well, I'm a city dweller, so sometimes writing nature poems is a challenge for me. Although I do like to observe wildlife in my own backyard. So some of my poetry is about birds and squirrels, etc. But I also enjoy writing about human activities, like little observations about people.
Now, again, I didn't read everything last night, but those were the ones that I found really clicked. You feel
Yes.
comfortable.
Yes.
So I want to ask, how did you actually decide to go pursue this style of poetry?
Well, a lot of people are introduced to haiku in school. I wasn't actually. I don't remember studying it at school. I remember reading a haiku poem in a book of poetry when I was in my mid 20s or so, and just being captivated by it, and deciding to try my hand at writing them, and I've been doing so for maybe 30 years now, with some success because I have been published, and I've won a few awards for my poetry, and I've published a couple of collections, and I belong to a poetry group, and in that connection, we have published a couple of anthologies.
Nice. So, did you edit them, or did you participate in them? Or what was your role in those anthologies?
In the anthologies, I collect. I guess you could say I was the collector of the poems, and contributed some of my own as well. And I was the person who facilitated the actual publishing as well.
So in that case, then you were essentially the editor of one of the collections.
Well, I guess more or less. I asked each contributor for a certain number of poems. Didn't reject too many. Maybe a few that I thought were questionable, but mostly we accepted at face value and published.
Okay,
Yes.
So you got any horror stories? Like, I have an editing horror story for you. Okay, see, I did a magazine class when I went to college in Arizona.
Oh, okay.
And the one that still hurts my brain to this day, someone actually wrote a fictional story about Chaos Cherry.
Oh.
It hurt. Like, it just like, I just know as an editor, right? As personally as an editor, I mean, when it's good, you love it.
Yes.
Because it's fantastic. You're
Yes.
like, OMG. I mean, yeah, it's like, this is amazing.
Yes.
But then when it's bad, you're like, I had to read that. You know what I mean?
Oh,
Yeah.
yes. Yeah. Well, I've read some haiku that's not particularly good in my opinion, but again, it's only my opinion. I don't see myself as the be all and end all of editors.
No one does.
I like to work with a few other people in that regard, so that I'm not the only person making the decision. So there's a group of us.
Well, no, that's how it should. It's how it should. It really is how it should be.
Yes.
Because we all have our biases.
Yes.
We all have our proclivities of what we enjoy and what we do not.
Right.
Right. I might like a poem about spider monkeys from outer space. I'm not saying I'm not saying I would necessarily write that. Well, okay, maybe I would.
Maybe you would.
Yes. And you might say, that's not really my cup of tea.
Exactly.
That's right. And that's cool, but you get multiple people.
Yeah.
It kind of just goes.
Yeah.
So, so you've done your voyages, you've done this. So, are you working on another book right now?
I am working on another collection because I have some haiku and tanka that I would like to bring together again in the printed form, or because I've written quite a few since my last collection, so I would like to publish them.
So you have a date in mind, or?
Oh,
I'm not holding a gun to your head or anything like that.
I had originally hoped that I would have the collection ready for this event, but it didn't happen.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping I will have it done by the end of the year or early next year.
You're hiding your hands, so you're not doing like one of those fingers crossing things under the table, are you?
No.
No.
My hands are on the table, but
Now, no, ladies and gentlemen, she was crossing. I'm sure she was crossing her fingers, like, no. Yeah.
If the stars are aligned properly, etc., it should be ready by the end of the year. It's good, and it's good to have a target date. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Even if the date has to be changed, at least you've set a date.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's not realistic.
Yeah, things happen also. So does it come easy to you, writing, or is it challenging? Like,
It's both. Some are easy to write, others are more difficult. I wrote one a while ago that I submitted to that local magazine called Wax Poetry and Art Magazine, edited by Kirk Ramdath, and submitted it to his haiku contest, and it won first place. Maybe because I gave it so little conscious thought. It had probably been brewing in my mind for a while, and perhaps that's why it won the contest. And that one is 1 year after the flood, watching the sky. He said he found it quite emotional, and it was based on the flood of 2013 that we had here.
Were you impacted by the flood?
Not directly, no, but I know people who were. Some people lost their homes.
Yeah. Oh, I know.
It was devastating. So it must have accumulated, the effects of it must have accumulated for a while before writing that particular haiku, because I wrote it very quickly.
Okay, no, that's cool. And by the way, congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah. Let's see here. So you got haiku, and you have things. So do you do other styles at all, or have you tried longer or shorter?
Well, actually, I do write limericks. It's a guilty pleasure, because some people dismiss limericks entirely as nonsense poems, but I find them quite fun to write, and I enjoy trying to make them rhyme, because haiku and tanka don't rhyme, but limericks have a definite rhyme scheme. So I enjoy the challenge of writing a limerick, and they're funny.
Yeah, no. You do no. There's some whimsy to you. I almost feel like I haven't brought this out. I haven't told enough bad jokes in here, because you definitely have a humorous side to you.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
A bit of a dark side and a humorous side. Well, in keeping with that, I am a certified laughter yoga leader, which means I write. I lead people in a series of exercises designed to teach them to laugh. Laughter is essential, in my opinion.
And no, it's the only real medicine that you really have to cope with life, because if you can't cope with life, right? I mean, if you don't have it, I mean, you have to either have tears and laughter, or they. If you don't have both,
we need both.
Yeah, we do.
Both.
We really do. In order to be truly healthy, absolutely.
Yeah, but most times I think most people would prefer to laugh rather than to cry. But crying is therapeutic.
Yeah. No, totally. So no, I'm
laughter. Yeah, they're both therapeutic.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So you've helped a lot of people with getting them to laugh?
Well, I do it in my workplace. I'm a social worker in a nursing home, so every Friday I gather a group of residents, as we call them, and we do a series of exercises designed to encourage laughter.
So, like, what is it like? Is it like a stretch, like kind of like a stretching
Um,
technique, or
it's a series of exercises designed by a doctor from India, and who's also a yoga practitioner. So he has used some of the techniques of yoga, including deep breathing, to elicit hearty laughter. And as he says, you don't have to have a sense of humor to laugh. If you follow the exercises, you will laugh. It's not forced laughter, but eventually you will laugh.
it just becomes a much easier process to actually get to?
Yes.
There's a lot of people that can use those exercises. I find
Absolutely, and especially in a setting like a nursing home, it's essential. And I also do laughter yoga exercises with the staff from time to time, and they certainly need to laugh too
Oh, absolutely.
because they're dealing with serious issues like death and dying.
Yes, which no, I mean they're all things we all have to deal with at some point.
Yes.
But the thing is, it's in your face every day,
Absolutely.
and just not just the doctors, but the actual people there, because they're not stupid what's going on.
No, no, no. We all know what's
Yeah.
we all know what's going on there. Yeah.
So, but
Yes.
I mean, it just puts in perspective. Life's fleeting. Like, I never like, was close to death. I almost could have swore I met a specter of it once on my journey.
Okay.
I was in Arizona. I was poor, destitute, broke,
Oh.
and I went through a really, really rough time in Arizona. Like
Did you?
very rough time. It was. I needed to go through it because it taught me a lot about who I am.
Yes.
And it gave me a foundation I'm not sure I would have found as quickly otherwise. That said, I wish the education might have been a little gentler, but that's not how life works. No, but that's not how life works. But there's that one point where I just realized that what, there's a chance I might die going through what I'm going through. It was just like that confrontation with your own mortality.
Yes. Yes.
And that's humbling.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
But also life affirming.
Absolutely. No, because what it does is it makes you realize, I'm not here forever.
None of us are.
Well, I would actually, I think I would truly be held. I think I would just truly be held if we were saying the fact that we're only here for so much time, and then it's almost like there's a release, which I think everybody appreciates at some point or another. But what I think is you're only here until you're gone. But while you are here, you have two choices in life. You can live it, or you can die it.
And I believe that's in keeping with the overall philosophy of haiku and tanka as well. Because that's one of the themes, recurring themes of that type of poetry is live for the moment and live in the moment. And a classical haiku poet described this world as a dewdrop world. It's like a dewdrop. It's very, very brief,
Brief and precious.
precious, and beautiful while it lasts.
Yeah, no, I agree.
So that's another attraction of that form for me.
Yeah. So no, I could see that. If that's your if that I could see why that would be appealing, almost like a reaffirmation for you in some
Yes.
ways.
Yes.
Yes, that's really cool. So I think we're near the end of this.
All right.
And unless as you want to add something, you want this is your podcast. So what do you want people to know about you?
Well, if people are interested in learning more about haiku and related forms, they're more than welcome to join us for our monthly meetings. We're meeting now at the Fish Creek Library on a monthly basis. And our next meeting is the first Saturday in October, whatever date that is, at 1 o'clock at Fish Creek Library. And we will be there. We always welcome new members. There's no long-term obligation, no fees.
Yes.
Just a desire to learn more about the form.
No, I will be touring my next book when that goes.
Oh, okay.
Well, you've seen
Yes, I have.
So I'll be doing the whole rock star thing there.
Good for you.
Yeah, and you'll be doing the whole rock star thing here. She's laughing at me, folks, but the truth of the matter is, she's an awesome person to talk to. I had her laughing very hard last night.
Yes, you did.
Yes, and there's definitely joy in her, and she's
Yes.
amazing. Do you have a webpage or anything like that?
I do have a website, www.joannemorcum.ca, and I think there's contact information on there. It's morcumj@telus.net.
Okay.
If you'd like to contact me by email.
Okay. No Twitter, no Facebook, no Instagram.
Well,
it's okay. You're not into it yet.
I tried Facebook and
I'm barely cool enough myself. Barely.
Wasn't thrilled about it. I do have a Twitter account, so I'm slowly mastering it. But I'm a slow learner, I must say.
No, well, it's okay. And I'll just throw this out there. This is a very. I mean, this like what's been going on with how everything's changing. There must be a shell shock a little bit too.
Yes, absolutely. I'm not as adept at social media as other people are, I must say. But I'm trying. I'm trying to keep up, but it's a challenge.
Can I give you the best of something I just learned? Because
Yes.
I'm not going to say I'm great at it or anything like that, but it's just for me. Just be yourself.
Yes.
That's it. I mean, I am this goofy. I am this way. I'm this playful. I'm this serious. I'm all these things. So I don't hide on Twitter. This is who I am.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good advice.
And I might say because doing a yoga laughter exercise, showing like something like that would be cool, like because that's what you do, and just talk about your life because I mean, heck, even throw on a haiku here and there, right?
Yes, I could because they're very short.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Short and sweet.
All right, so Miss Joanne, I gotta thank you very much. All right, for putting up with me.
Oh,
for the show.
You're welcome.
Yes.
And thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Thanks a lot.
So this is.
All right, and that's Joanne Morcum. So I want everybody to go on Twitter right now and say hi to her and tell her she's awesome because she is awesome. And go pick up her books. We talked about a couple of them in the interview. Go look at them again. Go on Amazon. Follow her on Twitter at Joanne Morcum and say hi. And that's another episode of Just Joshing. I'm going to wrap this up as quickly as I can. I am on Twitter and Instagram at jpentelleresco, JPANTALLERESCO. My WordPress site is jpentelleresco.wordpress.com. My Facebook, you can find me under Joshua Pentelleresco. Say hi, talk to me, say you want to be on the podcast, say this podcast sucks, cool, whatever you want to say. Awesome. Beyond that, you can check out my books. The Watchers Book 1, There Is More, at Amazon or at mirrorworldpublishing.com. Storm Dancer is the new one. You can take a look at it. I will get to a reading of it one of these episodes real soon. And that will do it. This is Joshing. My name is Josh Pentelleresco, and you have yourself a good one. Stay inspired.
Josh.